case you haven't noticed, narcissists are very, very angry individuals. I mean, the first and most obvious thing that narcissists are feeling almost constantly, always, is anger. And this anger comes from having to face reality constantly. I mean, narcissists unfortunately do live in the real world. So they're having to run into reality constantly. And reality is often clashing with their fantasies. And this can cause a lot of anger for them. You know, when things aren't happening the way they're supposed to, the way the narcissist planned out in their imagination, that's a perfectly good reason to become enraged. When their fantasy isn't manifesting in front of their eyes, they've been wronged, and they feel they have the right to fly off the handle, right? You see, another reason that they are always angry all the time is that they imagine that they've been wrong when they haven't. So sometimes their fantasy world is overlaid over the real world, and they can't even tell the difference. They're not even being forced to face reality. They believe that you or the person over there or him or her or them is out to get them somehow, or is just waiting to try to trick them or take something away from them. They also interpret the things that you say, the things you do, as a personal attack on them. And even if you're not doing something right, the way that they imagined it, that's personally offensive to them. They're pretty sure you're about to do something. And this is how they behave. If you haven't planned anything, this is what they feel. Whatever they've imagined is what they feel you're going to do to them. It's like a personal attack on them. Everything you say or do. It doesn't really matter. Even if it's not, and they imagine that it is, or you're about to. They're also angry when they lose control of people. They feel entitled to use other people as pawns in their fantasy world. Other people are supposed to do whatever it is that the narcissist feels that they fantasize about. So when people start doing things their own way, people start making their own decisions and using their own mind and being autonomous, this infuriates the narcissist. Y'all, they also suffer from lots of paranoia. And this paranoia partially comes from their self-centeredness. You see, partially from them feeling that they are the center of the universe and that everything revolves around them. And as great as that might be sometimes to a narcissist, it can actually be really, really uncomfortable and scary to them as well. Even though it's really all in their imagination, but it's one reason why they don't trust anybody. Ever trust anyone, because they're constantly on guard. They constantly know that everybody's out to get them. Everybody's thinking about them. And it's also a reason that they can do such cruel things to other people, seemingly unprovoked. They're trying to beat you to the punch because they just know that you're out to get them. They just know that you're waiting for an opportunity to take something from them, to steal something from them, their traits, or somehow make them look bad. So they want to beat you to the punch. Y'all, just saying this stuff is just, when I think about it, it's just weird that they feel everyone is just like them. This is how diabolical these individuals really are. You know, another thing that pathological narcissists feel 24/7 is deep shame. Lots of shame, guys. You see, this feeling of shame is something that's usually buried very deeply within the narcissist. It's something that most of them aren't even aware of. That's what makes this so crazy. But it's there. And it's something that is always affecting their behavior. Everything that they really do is an act of trying to run away from this deep feeling of shame. The shame is not the result of anything that they've actually done. They don't feel any guilt or remorse for anything that they ever really do. If they do something to you, they don't feel anything about that. So the shame isn't even about that. Even though, ironically, those are the things that should, make them feel guilt, should make them feel shame. It's not, though. This is a deep pathological shame about who they really are fundamentally. They're concerned about who they are. And this is something that is very important. It's important to the narcissist, and it's a very important part of narcissism. This is really what causes everything that they do. It's the belief that they are not good enough, that everyone really is going to see through the facade and see who they really are. That this pathetic, worthless, irrelevant piece of garbage is what they really are. And that everybody that's paying attention to them, since they're the center of the universe, quote unquote, right, is going to somehow, if they're not careful enough, see through the facade and see the truth, the awful, awful truth of who they really are. You can't make this stuff up. And that's why narcissists are constantly defending themselves against things that aren't really even happening, taking offense to things that weren't meant to even offend them, and lashing out at people that haven't done anything wrong to them. They are constantly trying to guard this awful feeling that they have about themselves. They're constantly trying to keep people at arm's length so nobody can see through this terrible, awful person that they really are. Y'all, this is crazy. They're really an awful individual, and they're trying so hard to keep you from finding out. And you know what's crazy? They're not even really consciously aware, that they're even like this. They're clueless that they're even like this. And if they were aware, you think they would stop behaving like this? No, they just would try to find other avenues to continue hiding this horrible behavior. I was just thinking about that. I was laying here and I was just like, you know what? I want to share this with y'all. Like, it's ridiculous that people actually wake up every day and behave in this manner. And this is the only way that they know. And they can't be cured. Like I always say, you can't make this stuff up. What a miserable reality to live in. The fantasy that they live in, I don't wish that on my worst enemy. That's ridiculous. I just want to share that with y'all guys. Narcissists are pathetic. And if you're still around these individuals, get out. Leave them to their own devices. Get away from these creatures. They're bound to tear you down at all costs. If you're still around a narcissist, you're still living with these people, get out. Do what you need to do. Where there's a will, there's a way. Escape the clutches of hell, you guys, because that's all that it is. That's it for this video, guys. Until next time.